This is a relatively short passage with some pretty easy words, but just remember, we do want to support it. We want the team's conclusion. They're going to tell us a lot about their experimental process before we get to the conclusion, so just don't let that distract you. We're going to get to the conclusion, it's going to be obvious. Plants like potatoes, tomatoes, and soybeans are susceptible to bacterial wilt disease caused by the bacteria, whatever that is. A multinational team of scientists led by this person studied whether other microbes in the soil might influence the degree to which plants are affected by the disease. The team sampled soil surrounding individual tomato plants over time and compared the results of plants that became diseased with those that remained healthy. They concluded that the presence of certain microbes in the soil might explain the difference between healthy and diseased plants. So it's about microbes, right? I mean, dumb summary here. It just kind of says it. Strong word, whatever you want to say it. They're just telling you it's about microbes. So let's just see. Is there a choice that's about microbes? We want to support this idea. The soil surrounding healthy plants contains significantly higher concentrations of microbes known to inhibit this thing than the soil surrounding diseased plants did. Well, in a dumb way, they're talking about microbes. Let's just keep it simple. Okay, that's the right thing. Let's just move on. B, the soil surrounding the plants contain high concentrations of this thing regardless of whether the plants were affected by wilt disease. Well, that seems to make it not about the disease. The whole point was that we were testing the disease. This doesn't really talk about microbes either. Remember, this is bacteria. This is maybe one microbe, but we were talking about lots of microbes. So I don't know. This one seems like it's missing the microbes thing. I don't know. I'm confused. C, the soil surrounding healthy plants tended to have significantly higher moisture levels. It's not about microbes. By the end of the experiment, over half the plants had been affected by wilt disease regardless of differences in the types of concentrations of microbes in the surrounding soil. Well, this is a good example of something that you might pick if you're not really reading carefully. Yes, it talks about microbes, but it's saying regardless, meaning that they're saying in this choice that the microbes didn't matter, that whether or not it had this disease was regardless of which types of microbes there were. The conclusion was that the microbes mattered. Choice D is saying that the microbes did not matter. This would be a choice that weakens the hypothesis. So if this exact passage and these exact choices were given to us, but they changed the word support in the question to weaken or undermine, then D is the answer. Right, so this is a very common trap with these, and why we got to be careful we're answering the right question is they might offer us a choice that would work if they just switched one word in that question. So you got to be careful. It's clearly A. It's just saying the microbes mattered, right? Now, just to kind of really bring it home, I think if someone has some skepticism here, it's because they don't know the word inhibit. That's a good vocab word to know. So to inhibit is to kind of stop or prevent. So in this case, they're saying the healthy plants contain the microbes that inhibit or prevent the bad bacteria from being there, right? And that's the bacteria that causes the disease, right? So there is a microbe that we are talking about. That microbe causes the disease, but other microbes near the healthy plants inhibit that bad bacteria that will cause the disease. So they prevent it from growing and spreading and causing the disease. So I don't think you need to know that word to get this question right, but I do think obviously it helps, and that is a good word to know. It is definitely something that could appear on any SAT. It is right in there. Right in there is a good SAT word. So definitely something to know. In case you're curious, for more information about why B is wrong, the soil surrounding the plants contain high concentrations of this thing, regardless of whether the plants were affected. Well, then it's not explaining why the microbes would matter, right? So that's the bad bacteria that causes the disease. So if the bacteria is everywhere and it's in the soil next to the good plants, the healthy plants, next to the sick plants, then something else must be causing the disease. But the choice is not explaining what the something else was. The passage, the conclusion at the end of the passage, is trying to say that regardless of whether the bacteria is there, I guess, the other microbes are helping determine whether the bacteria is successful in causing the disease. So B is just kind of not really saying anything, is what it comes down to. But all we needed a choice to say was something about the microbes. I think maybe people pick B because they get confused about the microbes that are good versus this particular specific bacteria that causes the disease. But I didn't try to memorize that as I read the passage. I knew it was there. It's still, I can go back to it and double check. So no excuse. It's right there for you as well.